What if I told you there's a secret formula in the Bible that can turn your deepest doubts into unstoppable faith? And that it's the same formula used by Moses when he questioned his calling, by Esther when she faced impossible odds, and by Peter when he sank in the waves. Imagine if you could take that ancient wisdom and use it to transform your own biggest struggles. Starting today. Stick with me, because over the next few minutes, you'll discover the exact 3-step process that biblical heroes used to go from paralyzing uncertainty to world-changing destiny. And here's the twist. This isn't just a history lesson. By the end of this video, you'll know how to apply these steps to your own life, no matter what you're facing right now. Here's what's coming. First, I'll reveal the surprising reason why God sometimes allows doubt in your life. Then, we'll walk through the stories of 3 people, Moses, Esther, and Peter, who each hit a breaking point, and I'll show you the exact moment everything changed for them. Finally, I'll give you the step-by-step formula you can use, starting today. And don't miss the moment around the 7-minute mark, when I'll share a question that changed everything for me, and just might be your breakthrough too. Let's start with a truth that might surprise you. Doubt isn't your enemy, it's your invitation to transformation. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That word transformed comes from the Greek metamorpho. Think caterpillar to butterfly. But here's the wild part. Before a butterfly emerges, the caterpillar dissolves. It becomes unrecognizable, then is remade into something entirely new. Your seasons of doubt, they're not punishment, they're preparation. God is dissolving your old thought patterns so he can create something extraordinary. And I'm about to prove it with 3 stories that might change how you see your journey. Think about this. What if the very thing you're doubting right now is the doorway to your greatest breakthrough? Let's begin with Moses. When God called him from the burning bush, Moses didn't jump up and say, "Let's go." Instead, he said, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh?" He doubted his voice, his ability, even his purpose. But here's what's incredible. God didn't scold Moses for his doubt. Instead, he met him right there and said, "I will be with you." God gave Moses signs, a helper in Aaron, and instructions for every step. Moses' doubt forced him to depend on God, not himself. That dependence became his superpower. The man who said, "I can't speak," became the voice that thundered in Pharaoh's courts and brought the 10 Commandments to the world. Now, if you've ever felt unqualified, you're not alone. Moses' story is proof that God isn't looking for perfect confidence. He's looking for willingness. Imagine Esther, suddenly queen, discovering her people are about to be destroyed. She faces a choice: risk her life to save them, or stay silent and safe. Doubt whispered every reason to hide. But her uncle Mordecai's words echoed, "Who knows if you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" That phrase, "for such a time as this," became Esther's turning point. Her doubt wasn't about her inadequacy. It was about realizing the magnitude of her purpose. Esther's answer, "If I perish, I perish." She chose faith over fear, and her single act of courage changed the course of history. Here's what's powerful. Esther's doubt didn't disqualify her, it positioned her. Sometimes, God allows uncertainty because he's preparing you for something bigger than you can imagine. Peter saw Jesus walking on water and boldly stepped out of the boat. But when the waves got rough, doubt crept in and he began to sink. "Lord, save me," he cried. Jesus immediately reached out and caught him, asking, "Why did you doubt?" But here's the twist. Peter was the only disciple who walked on water at all. Peter's journey was marked by questions, mistakes, even denial. Yet Jesus called him the rock on which he would build his church. Why? Because Peter learned to bring his doubts to Jesus instead of hiding them. His failure was actually faith in motion. This brings us to the secret formula that Moses, Esther, and Peter all discovered, a formula you can use right now. Step 1, stop conforming to fear. Moses, Esther, and Peter all had to stop listening to fear and start listening to faith. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world," and the world's pattern is doubt, fear, and limitation. Each of these heroes had to make a choice to reject the world's whispers of impossibility. Step 2. Start transforming your mind. Each of these heroes replaced fearful thoughts with God's truth. Moses replaced "I can't" with "God can." Esther replaced "I might die" with "I was born for this." Peter replaced "I'm sinking" with "Jesus saves." The battlefield is in your mind, and victory comes through renewing your thoughts with God's promises. Step 3. Step forward despite uncertainty. None of them waited until they felt ready. They acted on faith while still feeling afraid. And that's when God showed up with miracles. Here's where it gets personal. Are you willing to take a step, even if you still feel uncertain? Because that's where the transformation happens. Here's the question that changed everything for me, and it might change everything for you. What if your current doubt isn't about your inadequacy, but about the magnitude of what God wants to do through you? Think about it. Moses doubted because his calling was huge. Esther doubted because her purpose was massive. Peter doubted because walking on water was impossible. What if your doubt is actually confirmation that you're on the edge of something extraordinary? Ask yourself, what step is God asking me to take, even though I don't feel ready? Your story doesn't end with doubt. It begins there. Every biblical hero started uncertain, but chose to trust God's voice over fear's whisper. Even Jesus in Gethsemane prayed, "If possible, let this cup pass from me." But he chose the path set before him. Your destiny awaits. The question is, will you take the first step?